Yeah, so we asked the question, why do we need a list in Python? We need Python list to keep track of multiple items in an organized way so that we can access, we can manage, and then we can analyze. So we have an example here. We have 3 plates in a list, and then we can access, we can take the first plate, we can retrieve the first plate, we can retrieve the second, or even the third. And then we can manage, we can rearrange these plates in a list, and then we can also analyze. Now, this is my mean to count how many plates we have in this list. So we have a list of numbers up here, and then we can also retrieve the first element, in this case 81. We can manage them. In this case, we can also rearrange the numbers, and then we can also analyze to find, okay, well, what's the mode of the list, what's the mean, or what's the average of that list. So these are things a list can do for us. And then we'll also look at how, so we'll flip to our Google Collaborate soon. We'll look at how to create a list and how to access elements in a list. So remember, we did something like that in our previous video. So imagine we have 3 plates. This is the first plate, this is the second plate, and this is the third plate. If we were to retrieve the first plate, we would retrieve using its index. So the first plate has got index 0, the second plate has got index 1, and then the third plate has got index 2. So if we want to retrieve the first plate, we would have to say x. So imagine all of this is assigned to x. So x is a variable of type list. So we'll now say x0, and that would retrieve the first plate. And then if we say x1, that would retrieve the second plate. Then we'll say x2, that would also retrieve the third plate. So we'll look at that shortly in our code. And then how to modify a retrieve element or replace element in a list. We'll also look at list operations, and lastly we'll look at searching. So let's go to our Google Collaborate. So how do we create a list? So this is a list. This is how to create a list. We will use angle brackets, and this list has got how many elements? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so you can also change this. So it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 elements. The first element is 1. The second element is what? 2. The third is 3. The fourth is 14. Fifth is 5, and the sixth is 6. So that's a list now, and that has been assigned to a variable of type list. So my list holds all of this that has been assigned to it. And then if I say print my list, that would also print what has been assigned to my list. That is what you have here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then imagine if I want to access the first element. So again, this is a list, and then that list has been assigned to my list. So my list holds all of this. And then I want to access the first element here. So I want to access the first element, which is 1. Remember, so imagine we have this. I want to retrieve this element. I would have to go through its index, which is 0. If I want to retrieve 2, I have to go through its index, which is 1. If I want to retrieve 3, I have to go through its index, which is 2. In this case, I want to access the first element, and then I will say my list bracket 0. So that means retrieve the number, the value at index 0, and whatever that is assigned to first element, and then we print first element. So this will print out 1. I hope this is clear. So imagine if we want to print out the last element. So I know that this first element has index 0. This is index 1, index 2, index 3, index 4, and index 5. So I'll just replace this with 5, and then I print that out, and that gives me 6. And I can also modify. So imagine if I want to replace 3, because this 3 has got index 0. Yeah, so let's look at it again. See, 3 has got index 2. So that so 3 has got index 2. So here I'm saying my list access, whatever you have in index 2, replace that value with 10. So we're kicking 3 out, and then we'll replace that, replace 3 with 10. And then you have, you can see we've removed 3, and then that has been replaced by with 10. So imagine you want to keep the first, the second value, we would use index 1. So, okay, well, it should be here. Say 1. I want to replace 2 with what? I want to replace it with 100. Then if I print that, you can see we've modified that list, and then we've removed 2, and then we've replaced with 100. And then we can also do some list operation. So we have our list here, and then imagine we want to double our list, and then whatever we do here, we assign to my list, to new list, and then we'll print out new list here. If I run this one, you can see we've duplicated that. So this is the first one, and then that's the second one. And if I put 3 here, so it will do that 3 times. This is the first one, second one, the third one. And then we can also sort our list in an ascending order. So you have our list here. Now you can use this sort function. So we'll discuss function at some point. So we'll use our variable, which is our list dot sort. That means sort this item. Sort this list in an ascending order. And then once you're done sorting, print out the sorted list. And then you can see it goes in an ascending order. And then we can also retrieve. So imagine we want to get the index of this value 10. And if I print that, you can see it retrieves, tells me that that value 10 has got index 0. And then if I say put 6 here, and then I print it, you can see it tells me that, okay, well, this 6 has got index 5, which is true. This index 0 is index 1, index 2, index 3, index 4, and index 5. So that's correct. Yeah, so what about, so let's want to get the index of 21, value 21. And I print this, and then it tells me that is index 1. So this is really important. You would have to revise this and go through this indexing. You will use this indexing to retrieve values. Yeah, so you have an assignment. So sort these in descending and ascending order. Remember what we did here was in an ascending order. So sort these in descending order, and then I would like to see your output. And then so you would also give reasons why this code gives error. So that's also your assignment. And then let me clear this one. Oh yeah, so thank you, and I'll see you in the next class.